get it all.
I'll put them all on the table.
Now, we're going to play a small game.
Okay.
But no, this one is, do this a good week. Take out your fiver for me, or your...
About €5.
euros.
There we go. There's my €5.
I'll put my 10 up against this, alright?
Okay.
Be fair with it.
Be fair with the conversion. This is worth more.
This is going to be harder with this, it's plastic. Can you grab it and fold it like that for me? And then fold it like that? Well, in fact, you just need to do it that way. That's perfect. And make sure it's a good crease on.
Yeah.
Perfect. Make sure I don't cheat. Fair?
Yep, fair.
I'll get back to the camera to see this in the corner. Can you bring your hand up and just pinch there for me? And can you bring your hand up and just pinch right there? Right, you ready? See, for you, it's like, yeah, alright. For him, it screwed him up.
I just messed with his mind completely.
It's the fun part. Right, I'll be nice to you, big guy. Check him out.
He does not understand me.
Yeah, it's one of those fun ones.
Okay, no. I got confused there. Right. No.
Hello everyone, my name is Rorrison and welcome to Thru. Thru is a small gimmick that will allow you to pass any bill through any bill at any time. The fun thing about this gimmick is it takes up next to no pocket space, and it will also let you pass through any card, business cards, bank card, or if you really want to, like headphones or that kind of thing, through the bill, very visually and insanely cleanly. Okay, so let's look at what you need to make Thru. Now, the most important thing would be a banknote. Now, to make this gimmick, you will need two. You can use any banknote that is common in your area. In the UK, we need to keep that in mind because our banknotes have different designs on the front of them, especially in Scotland. But you can use any bill in your country as long as it's a common bill there. You also need two of these, just keep that in mind and try and make sure they're of similar quality or like they're not too used and not too new, basically. So about mid-range and you'll be fine. Also keep in mind you will be destroying one of these. But it is for making a fantastic little gimmick, so there's sort of no harm there. You'll also need a pair of scissors or a craft knife. I prefer a craft knife just because it gives you a cleaner edge, but if you have scissors about, they will do the job just as well. And in saying that, have a cutting mat or a surface that you're allowed to cut on. I don't want your parents getting angry at me for telling you cut all this stuff up and ruining their nice worktop. You'll also need some rubber cement. Elmer's glue will work just as well. Just the brand we can get here most readily is a brand called Kalal. So I use this. But again, any rubber cement will do. And finally, you will need some of these. Now let me get this out of the way so you can get a nice shot of this. Now we will have a nice close-up shot of everything later on when I make a second gimmick up in polymer bills, just so I can show the UK guys that it will still work. But you'll also need these little guys. Now these are just little disc magnets. They are 5mm diameter by 0.5mm thick. To make one gimmick you'll need 4 of these. So let's set those aside. I said 4. Let's grab them. And that is all we need. Oh, apart from one more little thing. If you want to, a little piece of sellotape may come in handy just for securing the magnets down. I generally don't, but I'll show you using this a little bit, just so you can get the gist of it. All right, so let's start. First and foremost, you need to figure out what bill you want to cut. In this case, they're both, again, fairly used in the same way, so there's sort of no big difference there. The only thing I would say that you need to kind of keep in mind is the bills have serial numbers on here. Now, when this is displayed in this routine, you're going to see 1/4. So you're going to want to fold this up so you only see a standard design. There's no serial number there. I don't want someone getting a peek at this and seeing that there's 2 different serial numbers on the bill. I don't really see it happen, and it's never happened to me, but I just prefer to be cautious. So I will tend to use the back. To cut this, it is one cut, and it's just basically down the halfway line here. So all you're going to do is fold the bill in half and get it as crisp and clean as you possibly can. Just like that. Then as you open this out, that just creates a nice line for you. Now, for a straight edge, just use an old card if you have one. If you have a metal rule, you're also free to use that. And just get it on that edge, and you're just going to cut along there. Take your time with this and be careful. I don't want anyone cutting their fingers. Perfect. So you have your 2 halves. Now just put this aside. You can use this to make a second gimmick if you want. It also comes in handy just for having as a spare as well. But now you have this little half piece. You want to fold it in half again, but just rotate it round, and you're going to fold it that way. Okay. So what it's basically doing is creating 1/4 of a card, or of a bill, sorry. So once you fold it down that way, you have to decide what side you want facing out. Okay, so in our example here, I'll have it so the big 10 is facing out, just because it's more visual in this instance. At this point, all you need to do is just attack it with some rubber cement. You want to cover this whole face here. So let me just get this on here. Get rid of the little bit of extra gunk there that always comes with this glue. So get that on there. Now, you can use like all the brushes and all that kind of stuff. The good thing about this Kalal glue is it doesn't really harm your skin much. Now, with the glue, again, different people have different allergies and all that kind of stuff. So just be aware of that. You are using a solvent. And also, again, use some like paper or a cutting mat or all that kind of stuff. When you're putting this on here, I don't want you like messing up your mum's nice little table. So once the rubber cement is on there, just put it down and let it dry out. Make sure it doesn't stick to your fingers on way. Now Alan gets to do the fun thing, we'll just wait and lets it dry. I should have done the Blue Peter thing, I went, here's one I made earlier. Okay, so while you're waiting for that side of the bill to dry, use this second half as a reference. And you want to cut out just a piece of a playing card. What you need to make sure is that this piece of a playing card will fit inside the bill when it's folded up. So there's a little bit of a border around it, because this will go in here just to stiffen all of this up. So while you're waiting for that to dry, just put a little bit of rubber cement on both sides of this, okay? So I'll get to that while that dries, and then we'll pick back up once everything's dry and we're ready to stick it all in. Okay, so all the rubber cement is now dry. What you want to do is take this little piece here, and you want to place it on the inside of your little half of the bill. Now, when you're placing this down, you want to create like a little border around the 1/2. So when you're looking at this, this is a halfway line here. I want to leave just a little bit of an edge up at the cut edge, place that down and square it on. So it means there's a little bit of a border the whole way around. Okay? So once you have that in there, you want to put the magnets in. Now, generally I will just grab 2 of these. Just get those out. And just put them on top of the rubber cement. However, I know a lot of you guys will want to like make sure they're in there. I know a couple, just to be certain, really. Basically, if you want to do that, just use a little bit of standard sellotape and take a little strip of it. There we are. It's me being a little bit OCD, not getting in there with my teeth. And again, watch your fingers. I don't want anyone taking their finger off while they're doing this. Now, the one thing you want to do is when you're placing this on, make sure it's up at the cut side, okay? So you don't want it at your fold edge, just where you've cut along the mid-center of the bill. And place it in just at the very corner of that little white card there. And just take a little bit of tape and stick it down. This is just to make sure it stays there. There's no need for it if you don't want to use it, just for a little bit of extra security. Now, the one thing you want to do with the second magnet is make sure its polarity is different. So place the magnet on top of that and let it stick. Get down there. Whatever way it sticks, usually I put a little mark on there with a pen, just so I know if I'm going to move this around so I don't get confused. But you're going to want to make it now so the mark goes face down as you stick that down. And it means the 2 poles of each magnet will be different. Okay? So if I take that off now and flip it over that way, so the ink is facing downwards, it will mean that the 2 poles are different, and then it will help out with one of the routines later on. Taking out a little bit of tape. Again, watch your fingers. Perfect. And this just goes in the other corner of that white card. just like that. Now we have a little bit extra tape there. Let's just trim that off. Perfect. And this is basically this piece done. All we need to do now is fold this over so all the rubber cement sticks. Try and make it so all your edges line up. So I'm going to get a little bit OCD here as I come down now and just make sure that everything lines up perfectly, because it really bothers me if it doesn't. There we are. And then just flatten it all down. Perfect. Okay, so that's your front panel made. The one thing we need to do now is make the little holder for this out of the other two magnets. So to make sure you have the orientation correct on this, because we changed the poles of the magnets, you want to figure out what side of the bell or the panel will be facing the spectator. So you're going to put this face down, I should say, and lay it flat down, okay? So the side that the spectators will see will be on the table. And you're going to create the little panel here that will hold the magnets on. Now I used to make this out of the other piece of the bell. I would cut the strip and use the rubber cement again to hold the magnets, because I thought it would blend in a little bit better in the background. If you want to, feel free. But over the years of doing this, I've noticed that no one is ever really behind me that much. When I'm holding the bell up to do this, to show it at that point, there's no real way they can see in there. And if you make it with tape, it gives you a little bit extra functionality. So let me show you how to do that. All you need to do is just grab yourself a strip of the tape that you have there. And you're going to place it again up at the cut edge of the bell, okay? Now, don't place it down sticky side down so it'll adhere to the bell. You want to place it down sticky side up. Just like that. Now, I just hold it there with my finger just now. And I'll peel off one of the magnets and just bring it close to the two that are on the back there, and it will hold it on. Okay, so it will want to pull it in. Now, as you take the other one, just bring it over to the second magnet and let it do the same. And just fold over this piece of tape now. So you have like a little extra bit of tape here. Fold it over and create like a little lip. And that is it. Now, once you've got that, you can take it off and trim it up. I like to make sure it looks a little teeny bit nicer than that, just by taking some of the edges off. Let's get that off there. And you can thin that up a little bit as well. Doesn't need to be that long. Perfect. Get rid of that. These little shards of tape get everywhere. So basically I just use this. It's quite literally just a little piece of tape with two magnets on there that adhere to the back of this bell once you get your orientation correct. Perfect. Now once I place this on there, I've noticed that when it's on, there's a little bit extra tape on here. Now I know I could flip it and it'll take care of that, but just to be safe, and if I'm in a rush in a gig, I like to cut that off just in case. That way I don't have to worry about it. So just a little teeny edge. And that's your gimmick ready to go. You're now ready to do this routine. So let me show you how to load it onto the bell, and we'll get into all the performances. Okay, so let's get a super close-up shot of making this gimmick up for you. Now in this instance as well, I'll be doing it out of a polymer bell, just so the guys in the UK and all the other countries that are bringing these bells in can see that you can make this up with a polymer bell. The only thing you need to keep in mind with these is once you have your bell halved and down the center line like that, is with the section you're going to use, you're going to have to cut again. You're going to want to rotate it and fold it over and cut along this edge here. Because if we leave that like that, with a polymer bell, it wants to pull everything apart. And over time, unfortunately, that will pull the glue apart. You can use a stronger glue if you want, but it really stiffens up the gimmick and just makes it it doesn't look right when you're handling it. You can tell there's something wrong with that piece. So a little extra cut just solves that. So just to save a little bit of time, you already have that cut just there. Now, in my case, this £5, the large £5 edge there, will be the edge they see, okay? So what I need to do just now is get the glue and the magnets on there and get this little secret piece in there. Now this piece, again, is just a little section from a playing card. The only thing you need to do is make sure that that fits inside of the bell, just like that. Okay, so there's a little bit of the border around it. So let's get the glue on here and get the magnets in and get it all together. And again, I use Collal photo glue. It's just the most common available one in the UK. And also, once you're using this, make sure you have a sort of work surface you're allowed to do it on. Even though this glue is really easy to rub off, I just don't want anyone's parents getting at me for getting glue everywhere. Let's make sure I get some on the card as well. And when you're smearing this about, just make sure you get it right up into the edges, because those are the parts that you want to make sure are good and stuck. There we are. Perfect. There we are. And this needs it on both sides, really, but you can sort that out in a little second. In fact, it'll probably be easier if we stick this down first. So let me show you. Now, the good thing you can do with photo glue, so I'm just hold everything so it doesn't blow away, is just blow on it, and you'll see that it dries a little bit quicker. And it also lets you see any little sections where there's a little bit too much glue on there that'll pulled up, so you can just get that smeared out of the way. Let's get a little teeny bit more down there. I missed a little section right at the edge. Don't want to get that so it can peel apart. Perfect. So the next thing you need to do is take your little section here and just glue it down there. And you'll notice I leave a little bit of a lip all the way around that bill. Okay? This is just so the edges of the bill will fold and move so it doesn't look too rigid. And the next thing you need to do is put in your little magnets. Now again, these are just little 5mm disc magnets, 5mm by 0.5mm thick. And I tend just to place them on the corners of the bill. Now you want to put this down with a little bit of tape just to hold it in that place. Got a little pieces pre-cut just to keep it easy on us. Perfect. We'll grab our second one. Now again, we want to make sure the polarity of this is different. So if we stick that to that bill, so we know it sticks. You can put a mark on here if you want, but I'm not going to be placing this down again. The only thing you have to keep in mind is when you peel this off, flip it over and then stick it down. And take a little piece of your tape and just stick that down there, just to hold it in place, like that. Now this time I have a lot of spare tape there, so just take your little blade, make sure that's stuck down and cut that off. Come here, you go. Always remember, mind your fingers. And once we're finished with all of this, I'll do one final trim up at the end as well. Perfect. Now, just because the back of this doesn't have a lot of the photo glue on there, I'm just going to add a little teeny bit more. Just so it's on the back of the tape and on the back of everything. Again, I like to be uber sure that this thing is going to be stuck down and not come apart during a routine. Perfect. Get the glue off your fingers so it doesn't peel anything up. And then the last thing you need to do is take this pre-glued piece and stick it on. Now when you're putting this on, you want to get it as square as you possibly can. So I'll just put this up here. There you go. I have a little bit of a lip there, just push that into place. Again, but the good thing with photo glue is you have a little second just to move things about if you have to, before it fully sets. And there we are. That's the front panel section made. The only thing we need to do now is add in the other two magnets. Now, again, this is the section where you can take this little panel and make the fold over piece to hold these. I found that no one really looks back there, sees back there during this routine. So I tend just to use a little piece of tape again, which I have here. So if you take your tape and leave it sticky side up and hold it down over that section, take one of your magnets Then just let it adhere to one on there. Take your second magnet and let it find its polarity on the other one, and you're ready to go. All you have to do now is fold over this tape as neatly as you possibly can and flatten it all down. There we are. Just trim that really ragged bit off there. Perfect. That means they'll be in the correct position. Now you can tidy all of this up. So let me just get a little cutting edge on there. And trim all of this all the way and get those little curled edges out of the way just from where we've held it down. Make it look as pretty as possible. And that is there. We can clean that up a little bit as well. This is where being OCD kind of comes in handy. It makes you want to get everything as neat as you possibly can. I also like just to take the little edges off as well, but this is just me being a little bit pernickety. Perfect. So this little piece here just sticks on there. Now once you place it on the bill, you may notice that another little piece here needs to be trimmed in. You can peel this off if you want to and do that, or you can just use the bill as your cutting edge. I will take it off in this instance because it's a little bit close and I don't want to trim the bill in anymore. Perfect. And that is your gimmick all made and ready to go. Let's show you how to get these on the bill and how to use them. Okay, so you have your gimmick made. Let's look at how you put it onto the bill and how you would get into using it. Now, with your second bill, you're going to want to fold this into quarters. So just, again, fold it in half lengthways and make sure it's a nice creased edge. And then with whatever side you will be using, in my case the 10, make sure that's on the outside and fold it in half again, and just give yourself, again, a nice creased edge. This is just to give you a little bit of a guide. Now, when you open this up, you want to just follow where this corner goes. So I know when I open this up, it will be down here. So if I take these magnets off, I'll slip this piece under and just drop the magnets on, that means it's going to be roughly in the right position. Then all you have to do is square up with your outside edge. There we are. Perfect. So when I bring this out of my wallet and I hold this up, it will look just like a bill as I start to fold. So once you have it on there, again, don't worry about the center edge. If the design is a little teeny bit off, that tends to blend in, because when you're looking at a bill, it's just how you look at money. The middle bit blurs, you look primarily at the colour and the outer edge design. It's just how we view it, unfortunately. So make sure your outer edge is as square as you can get it. And then even if they do see a line here, it does just look like the folds, because the other parts have good strong folds in there as well. Now to carry this about, I just fold it in so these magnets on the inside are held in. Now in this instance, I know you can see these magnets. As I said before, I did used to put another piece of a bill over there, but I found there was no real need. When you see during the performances, I hold up like this for a brief second, no one's going to see those magnets back there. So to carry this around, I just fold that in half so the magnets are on the inside. I fold it over again, and this just goes into my wallet. And that is me ready to go. Okay, let's quickly go over how to palm this into a borrowed bill if you want to. And this will show you why we made the sort of magnets different poles. So during the routine, if you want to take the bill from the person and palm this on, all you need to do is make sure that you have the gimmick in whatever corresponding hand you need. So if I hold the bill like this in my right hand, I know that this bottom left corner is where the gimmick needs to go. So I'll just hold this loosely in this hand. As I take the bill over from the spectator, I'll bring this hand up underneath and hold it for a moment. And I'm just going to start talking about it. Now, I'm going to say to them, you need to fold a second bill for me, or a contrasting bill. Or if I'm using a card, I'll spread them out and say, I need you to choose a card just now for me and sign it. Now, if it's the card, you have all the time in the world to do this move. If it's not, and you're going to have them do the fold, you're just going to do it right in front of them. And all that's going to happen is, as your hands come up, your thumb is going to pull back on the magnet to your utmost left. In my instance, if you're right-handed, it'll be your right. Now, as you pull back, and this magnet goes over the secondary magnet there, because the poles are different, it's going to lift up. So once that happens, that lets you just feed the bell in and get everything ready to go. And that's it in the position I need it to be. So all the squaring up at this point will happen as I fold everything up, and I'm good to go. So it's very, very simple. Now, if you're doing this in the guise of folding the bell, I'll say I need you to fold the bell in half just like this. And as they're discussing and as they're going to do it, I'll lean in as if I'm going to correct something they're doing. So I'll say fold it in half just like that for me in lengthways. No, lengthways, and I lean in, I'll just do the move, pop it over, and it's on. Now at this point, when I'm going to come up and do the fold myself, I just push everything over and I'm ready to go. If you're doing it with a card selection and you spread out the cards, they're at a point now where they're trying to choose a card and they're going to have to sign it. So I can just stand back for a moment and just do all of this and just be ready to go. So there's no real big issues there. Now, in a standard performance, I will just use my own bell, but if you really want to, you can do this with a borrowed bell. Okay, so now you have the gimmick all set up and in place on your bell, or you've practiced a little bit palming that thing in. Let's show you how to use it. Now, during the routine, I will generally take the bell out and flash it slightly as I come up, and then just refold it in half. Now, this again will happen during a folding procedure that I make them do with one of their bells, or if they're selecting a card, I'll do it at that point. But let's show you the basics to how the gimmick actually works, and just so you're fully aware. When I fold this up, I'll fold the top edge down, so the gimmicked panel is just here. Then I'll fold this outside edge back, so the gimmick panel is still facing the spectator. Then I will rotate everything back over to me. So that means that the gimmicked panel is now facing me. Now if I pull back with my thumb now, that means that this little panel becomes dislodged from the magnets on the inside, and it lets me pull it back, and it leaves this little lip. Now this will happen when I'm up here to the spectator, so as I pull that back, it just looks like I'm peeling back a little bit of the bell. And basically what happens is you're going to pull that back, and then any item you have goes into that slot. Now once it's in there, I'll push back and let the magnets take everything back into line here, and I'll push this item down until it is stuck in between the two magnets. Now at this point I will give a little flash. The only thing you need to keep in mind here is, on the front edge you're stupidly clean, you don't really have to worry about that, there's no extra thickness here, but on the back there will be a slight extra thickness. So as I show this, I just make sure I pinch all of the outside edges here together. I will rotate, then rotate, just a quick flash, and then I will start. All you need to do is just pull this down now, and I'll usually stop around halfway, and then flip everything up that way and show it, and turn it back down. Now again, this is the little panel here, this is the little magnetic panel. So I'll pull it down, I'll get to there, I'll give it a quick flash, then I'll usually ask the spectator, can you pinch there for me? And I'll step away from them. So at that point, I leave them with the card or the other bell. So as they're holding that, I will come back, and then I can move into palming out the gimmick. But I'll show you all of that during the routine. So this is just to show you primarily how this gimmick works. So one more time. Once you're here, you start folding everything up. Rotate it back so this panel is facing you. Move your thumb back so it dislodges the panel from the magnet, and let's just slip that in. Make sure everything is all square at the bottom, and now you're ready to go. And that is basically it. So now you know how to handle the gimmick and make this work. Let's move into a few routines and how to palm it out, and with the added sort of misdirections that's in the routines themselves. Okay, so you have your gimmick set up and on the bell. Let's look into how you use this in routines now. Now I usually just have it in my wallet, just up here, this little lip. You could place it where you want, as long as you can get to it easily. Now, in the main routine I will use this for, it is just with a playing card. And I like to get people involved with this, so if it can be midway during any other card routine you have going on, I will spread the cards face up, and I'll say, now I have a favourite card, mine is the 6 of diamonds. I don't know why it is, it just seems lucky to me. And I'll start talking to people in the group. So I'll ask one person, do you have a lucky card that you like to use? If they don't, I'll ask them to like make one up, have a look in, make one up, and can you do the same for me and you also? And at this point, sometimes you get a nice story about why someone has lucky cards. More people have them than you might think. It's one of those little odd things. So at this point, I just invite people to dig out their cards. And I'll say, while you do that, I'm just going to get some money out. I reach into my wallet. I just find the gimmick. Now, once you go in here and you're going to get the gimmick out, make sure you go underneath and pull it all, because if you just take that little top section, it can be a little bit embarrassing. So take that out and put the wallet away. Now, at this point, again, they're just digging cards out here, so let's just pull a couple out. Perfect. You're there. Now, as they're doing this and they're pulling these out, I will get the bill open and out, just so they're going to get a brief flash of this open. It makes it just look more fair, if you ask me. So once they come back, I want to be standing holding the bill just like this. Now, you'll notice I kind of teeter it forward slightly, just so you don't get any really bad edges down here. And I just have my finger just resting at the top a little bit. Now, once they've done that, I'll say, I'm going to show you something awesome with one of those cards and this bill. Whose favourite lucky card do you want to use? Whose do you think is the most lucky? Whatever person you choose, you can have a little bit of fun by play with it, but at the end up, you're just going to have one person slide their card forward, and you can dig out a pen at this point and let them sign it if you really want to. As they're doing that, I just fold it up, fold it over, and turn it over, as I showed you before. Then you just take the borrowed card, the selected card, and I'll hold it up with the signature facing me. I'll pull back with my thumb as I showed you and load that in there, and then flip it round so that you see little bits of the signature peeking out. That's it. I'm going to show you something a little bit amazing with this. If you just watch, right at this little line here, if you pull down, it will look like the card's melting through. Now, if it really was, you could stop and it would be stuck, like halfway. It would just be there. In fact, can you hold that for me? And at that point, they will pinch this, and I will step away, leaving them with the card signed. And now, as I step away, I say, now, is there anything funny with that card? And they're going to check it for a second. As they start to do that, I just thumb open the bill. And you'll notice the way I thumb this open, I make it so the gimmick is right down into my palm. So it means as it's all open up, I can just pinch here and pull back. And all of this just comes off into my palm now, and it's hidden behind my hand. So I can come back now and drop this hand and see, in fact, is there anything wrong with the bill also, and let them check it out. And just ditch this in my pocket now as I stand back. It's very quick, it's very easy. It's the same ditch I use most of the time for this. And at that point, they're now left with a fully ungimmicked bill and a fully ungimmicked card, and with no real explanation on how this works. Okay, so let's quickly go over what you would do with a borrowed bill with this as well. So during this routine, I will generally have a few spectators. I like to work in little groups, and I'll sort of have fun by play with them. And I ask them to get their wallets out. Now, in this instance, if I'm going to palm something in, or palm the gimmick in, as I showed you before, this would tend to be the time I'm going to choose the bill, and it lets me spot if a bill is the same as a gimmick that I have. So it's the reason why I get everyone to pull them out, and ups your odds of getting one that will match, so you can do the routine. Again, if you're in the States, you don't really need to worry about this, you lucky, lucky little people. But in the UK, we just need to take that into consideration. But if you're just using your own gimmick all set up, have everyone pull their wallets out and start rooting for money, and say, I'm looking for a 20. In fact, I'm going to use a 10, but I need a 20 from one of you guys. And I'll dig out my wallet at this time, and I'll just take my gimmick out. So the wallet can go away. Whatever person you choose comes up with the 20. And you say, I need you to fold this up for me. Much like this one. So just do me a favor, grab it, fold it in half lengthways, and then just fold it in half again for me. And I'll just stand and wait at this point with this like that. I don't over-explain it to them. I don't like to patronize them too much. So at that point, you let them fold it in half, then fold it in half again. And then you would take this from them. So again, I am now here just standing ready, and I'll take it from them and say, perfect. We're going to pass this damn 20 through this 10. In fact, let me show you. I just open it up, and again, it's the exact same move. Just pull back, fit that in, and you get a nice image here of the bill inside the bill. All right, so once it's in there, I'll pinch it between my first two fingers at the top and my ring finger and thumb at the bottom as I just pull. Now, with the card, I'll stop halfway and show it in there. With the bill, this isn't a massive distance to travel, so I tend just to pull it all the way out. and have done with it. And then let them inspect that and palm off the gimmick as I showed before and let them inspect this. However, one thing I have found recently that I've been enjoying a little bit too much is once I get to here, I'll say, in fact, can you do me a favour? Can you hold the bell on that side? And can you hold the bell on that side? And just let two spectators hold that, all right? And there's a little sneaky moment. Once they're holding it, you can, again, pull back and just step away. Just to step out of it in the one position, as if nothing happens. I can't do any moves. The only thing I have done is just step back. It just gives it a sort of magical sort of appearance. There's no weird move happening. There's no cover or all that kind of stuff. I just like the sort of visual of it. So as I step back, I'll see it just passes right on through. In fact, can you do me a favour? Can you make sure that's normal? And as they start to check, again, I just open up, pull back, and that's it done. I can hand that on out, step away, and just put this in my pocket. Okay? So here's one of my favourite things to do with Thru. In today's age, just about everyone will walk around with some headphones on them. I know everywhere I go, I have some in my pocket. So if you're out and about, you can just ask a spectator, do you have any headphones on you? Again, I know I carry mine with me. If they're one of the odd ones that don't, you can dig into your pocket and hand them yours and just let them unravel them and open up. Now, once they have this all done, I will tend to have them hold the headphones out just like this, just with one strand. As they stand there with that, I will dig into my wallet and say, I'm going to do a little something with, let's say, a tenor will do the job, and I'll open it up. And the move is the exact same. You're just going to do it down this way. So because they're holding the headphones up just like this, it lets me do the same move downwards like that. So they can't see anything, everything is on the back edge. And even if they did see something at the back, it just looks like you're separating the bell, all right? Your hand's going to come up and around it. So again, the headphones just go into that section. And you have, again, I don't let them dangle because it looks a bit too obvious to me, but the spectator will hold it just like this in front of them as your hand pinches below. Okay? Now at that point, I will just pull down, and of course what's going to happen is these headphones are just going to go all the way through. And at that point, ask them to make sure the headphones are all right, and of course as we're checking that out, I just do the move, open everything up, pinch with my thumb, palm it out, and we're good to go. Again, you can let them inspect the bell, or if you borrowed it, you can hand them it back. So that is Thru. It's a very simple little gimmick to make, but I know you guys are going to have a lot of fun performing this thing. Once again, thanks a lot for buying, and thank you to Penguin for allowing me to get this awesome little routine out there.